In this lecture, we will learn how to specify the image that will be used for the job execution. So here we will have a very simple pipeline. Here we have only one job. It is called deploy job. We will assume that we want to use this job to deploy a Node.js application. And that's why here we want to check, first of all, the Node version by executing this command node-v. So let's commit the changes and see the execution of the pipeline. So now the pipeline was triggered. So here we have the deployed job. So we see here that the job was failed, and the reason is that the node command is not available. So here we are using the Docker Ruby image to execute this job. On this image, we didn't have the node command. Okay. So first of all, before executing the node command, we have to install node on the Docker image. Okay. And we can do that by going here back to the pipeline editor. And here we will add a before script section to install node on the Docker image. So here, if we search for download node, so here for the operating system, we will choose Linux, and we will copy these commands to install node on the Docker image. So here we use these commands to check the node version and the npm version. So we will remove these commands because we want to check the node version, and we can also check the npm version in the main script of the job. And here we have to execute this command to enable fnm. And then we use fnm to install node. Okay. So let's commit the changes and see the execution of the pipeline. So now the pipeline was triggered. So let's see the execution of the deploy job. So now the job was completed successfully, and here we have the node version and the npm version. So now after installing node, we are able to check the node version and the npm version. And here, if we see the duration of the job, so the job takes 36 seconds. Okay. So here for the execution of the job, we're still using the Ruby image. And on the Ruby image, we have installed node. But there is a better solution that we can use here, which is changing the Docker image used for the job execution. And we can do that by using the image keyword to specify the Docker image that the job runs in. So here we can specify the Docker image that will be used to run a specific job using the image keyword. So here, if we go to the pipeline editor, so here in the deploy job, we can use the image keyword to specify the Docker image that we want to use for the execution of this job. Okay. For example here, because we will need Node to deploy the application, we can use the Node image instead of the Ruby image. And here we didn't need to install Node because it will be available in the Node Docker image. Okay. So if we search here for the Node Docker image, so if we go here to tags, so here we have different tags. Here we will use a very simple Node image, which is the Node Alpine image. And now we no longer need to execute these commands to install Node, because Node will be available in the Node Docker image. Okay. And we can here specify the image either at the job level or in the default section if you want to specify the Docker image for all the jobs. So here we can specify the image either at the job level or in the default section if you want to specify the Docker image that we want to use for all the jobs of the pipeline. So now let's commit the changes and see the execution of the pipeline. So now the pipeline was triggered. So here we have the execution of the deployed job. And now here in the top, we find that we are using the Node Alpine image for the job execution instead of the default image, which is the Ruby image. And now the job takes only 14 seconds to be completed. Okay. So that's how we can specify the Docker image that we want to use to execute a job. Okay. So we can do that using the image keyword, and we can use the image keyword either at the job level if you want to specify the Docker image for a specific job, or in the default section if you want to specify the Docker image for all the jobs of the pipeline. Okay. So that's all for now. Thank you very much and see you next time.